Hey everybody. I don't like being that far away. There's a little bit of a glare. Oh, that's better. Yeah. Need to get on this side, get that light from, instead of being in front of me, maybe get it behind me. That's better. How are y'all? Let's see. Hey, Lucy Anderson, how are you doing? There's Teresa Nance. Good to see you, Teresa. And let's see who else is joining in with us. Just come on in and sit down on the back porch with me out here. Marianne Jenkins is here. Hey, Kim Pinkston, good to see you. And Kim Pax, oh look, from cold Wisconsin. Donna Walls, and there's Sean Nugent Evans from Oklahoma. Debbie Anderson from Missouri. I just had some folks from Missouri here earlier this week. Paulette Smith. Tonda Bradley says, I've never caught you live from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Now, isn't Rocky Mount, doesn't that have something to do with Andy Griffin? There's Rebecca Carter. There's Landon Young from Flemingbird, Kentucky, and Barb from Colorado, and Melinda from South Carolina. Jackie Morrell, Murrell, from Chesterfield, Virginia. Let me tell y'all an interesting story since Jackie Morrell is here. So I did a little study, a little research about my family, and as it turns out, there's Merrill, there's Merrell, there's Merrill, and there's Murrell. Well, apparently we all come from the same family. We all came from some sort of Scottish English descent, and our lineage starts mostly in North Carolina, where there was a horse thief. And the family split, and the horse thief happened to be a son. He stole his brother's horse, and the dad said, leave town, because they would have hung him. The dad said, leave town or we'll turn you in, you'll get hung for being a horse thief, and change your name. And he expected, I think, as I understand it, Donna Walls asked about book number 5 is coming, Donna. Just hold on. So he expected that the son would change his name to Jones or Smith or something, and so the son left town just like his dad told him to, so he wouldn't get arrested and wouldn't get hung for stealing his brother's horse. And he changed his name from ILL to ELL. And then, as I understand it, something similar happened, not involving criminality, but there was a record, like a clerk, maybe on a marriage license or something, that wrote down Murrell instead of Merrell. And so the Morrells, the Merrills, and the Merrills are all kin. Interesting. Let me tell you about a case I had one time. I'm not going to tell you the defendant's name, okay? I try real hard not to. I think some defendants, like, they get glory from their crime, right? And by the way, if you don't know, I'm the district attorney for this part of South Alabama, and so my job's to prosecute felony and misdemeanor offenses, but mostly felonies. And so there was a nice lady, a strong lady, a champion of a woman. Her name was Judy Morrell, Murrell, and she met a man. Judy was, I think, middle-aged is a good way to describe it. She was probably in her late 40s, maybe early 50s. And she met a man. He seemed like a decent man. He was, well-spoken and seemed like he had everything together. He had a job. He worked for the carnival, the fair that comes around, to the county fair. And he worked for them, and he traveled with them. And so they met while the fair was in town, and they went out on a few dates, and they had a good time. And then when the fair, the fair kind of does a circuit. And when the circuit was over, he came back to Andalusia to to continue pursuing Judy. And unfortunately, what Judy didn't know was that he was a psychopath, and he beat her and terrorized her and assaulted her over the course of one night. He got jealous. He thought that there was something going on with Judy and somebody else, and there wasn't. And he just kind of went out of his mind. He essentially held her captive all night long. Tina says, "I'm retired law enforcement." Thank you, Tina, for your service. He essentially held her captive all night long. The next morning, he says, "Come on, we're getting in the car." He's got a gun, by the way. "Come on, we're getting in the car," and I forget. It's been a while ago. I can't remember now where he said we were going. But she's in the driver's seat. Sorry, the passenger seat. He's driving. She knows that if they get to wherever they're going, he's going to kill her. He's already brutally assaulted her at this point. And so they're riding down this road right in downtown Andalusia, and she reaches over and grabs the steering wheel and snatches the steering wheel, and the car runs straight into a light pole right in front of the Dairy Queen. And Judy jumped out and started running, and he shot her twice. Maybe even more than twice now that I think about it, and left her for dead. And of course, he fled the scene. So I don't tell you all that to be depressing, though. I tell you that to say, of course, ambulances came and paramedics came and did a wonderful job. Police and paramedics did a fantastic job. Got Judy to the hospital. I went to the hospital. Somebody called me and told me what had happened. I didn't know Judy at the time, but I went. I met with the family while I was there, and we said a little prayer, and I just kind of kept tabs on Judy. She survived, right? Pretty brutal injuries, and she was so strong, y'all. She was truly just one of the strongest people I've ever met. She knew this man had done so much to her that she was well within her rights to say, I don't ever want to see him again. I don't want to be in the same room with him. I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone. And she could have just hoped, that he never, messed with her or came back around. He was not from here. And so thankfully she was strong enough that she cooperated. She helped us, and she didn't just help us. She was an important tool in the process. And I'm telling you, if it wasn't for her strength, I don't know, I just hadn't seen many victims as strong as Judy Morrell was. And so we pursued charges, and we went through all the court process, and ultimately, it's been so long ago, and I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I am 99% sure he got a life sentence. He had a bunch of prior convictions out of the state of New York, and so we showed all that to the court, and the judge gave him a life sentence. I didn't mean to go down that road. I didn't mean to depress y'all with a story of hardship, but I really did want to I was just celebrating Judy, and somehow Judy and I are cousins by, long lost descent, and that's what got me off on it. But truly a great and mighty woman, just as strong a woman as I've ever met. And a horrific event that she endured. That man never should have been out of prison. I'm sick and tired, by the way, of legislators and governors and judges not putting violent people in prison. Protect the rest of us. We don't want to be around them. I don't want my family brutalized because some legislator passed a feel-good bill, or some do-gooder judge, patted somebody on the back who really needed to have handcuffs slapped on them. And so protect the rest of us. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to do my job. You can count on it. And so if you're a judge out there and you're watching, you do yours, right? How about that? So anyway, I'm not going to get off on my tangent. I really did want to come tell y'all a couple things. Hey, one thing is I see folks, this is, y'all are all talking about it snowing and how cold it is. I'm swatting mosquitoes right now. It is 70 something degrees. There's a southern breeze blowing. There's a Gulf moisture coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico, so it's warm and balmy and it's humid, and the mosquitoes have started. We already dealing with mosquitoes. But here's the crazy thing. Look, that's a poinsettia. So in Alabama, you can enjoy a poinsettia and have mosquitoes at the same time. Now, I bet you there aren't many states that you can do that in, right? How about this? So, let's see, Sunday, I think it was. Sunday was the last day I went hunting. And it was the last day of the season. We have a pretty late season here in Alabama. And so I went hunting. Banks was going to go with me, but she was a little bit under the weather, so she didn't get to go. By the way, I posted a great story this morning called "The Trophy is in the Hunt." It's about Banks's first big buck experience. And so if you missed it, go back, scroll back up and read the Trophy is in the Hunt part 1. I'll post part 2 tomorrow and part 3 the next day. Hey, Mark, thank you for your service too. I appreciate you, brother. So Janet Anthony is saying it's cold in North Dakota. I got a mosquito flying around in my ear, Janet. That's how cold it is here. I completely forgot what I was going to tell you. Oh, I went hunting Sunday, and it had rained like on maybe Saturday, and so there's a place where I walk through where it's kind of this red sandy dirt, and it's soft, and it's real impressionable. And so when I walked through that area, I just was blown away. The rain probably had cleaned everything up, made the dirt soft. And then when I came through on Sunday, I got to see all of the animal tracks that had been left. So there were these great, just tons of turkey tracks and deer tracks and buck tracks and doe tracks and raccoons and coyotes and bobcats and possums and even little Tweety birds. There were more tracks than I had seen in a long time in an area not much bigger than, say, this porch right here, right? And I stopped. Instead of going hunting, I stopped, and I'm taking pictures, and I'm looking, and I'm just having the best time. I posted a video about that a couple of days ago called Making Impressions. And so I want to talk to you about that for a second. If you ask Bay, I don't know if Bay, are you on here? If you are, say something so I can see you comment. But if you ask Bay, like, tell me about your daddy, like, what was one of the flaws of your daddy when he was a younger man, when you were a little girl? -10 in western Montana, Rebecca Sloan says. I am sorry, Rebecca. God bless you. Although Montana's such a beautiful state. So if you ask Bay, well, like, what? Tell me one of the flaws of your daddy when he was a younger man and you were a little girl. She would tell you that I was quick-tempered, and that I was short-tempered, and that I would get angry too easily, right? And Kate probably would say some of the same thing, but maybe not quite to the degree, because Kate's 3 years younger, I think, than Bay. And what I didn't know as a younger man, as a younger dad, was that I was making impressions on my girls. And I mean, I guess I knew it, but I didn't fully appreciate it, right? And so, but I learned, because Bay would tell me, like, Daddy, you hurt my feelings because you got so mad. And so I tried to learn from what my daughters were telling me. And Kate, she was really blunt, or still is. I don't know if Kate, if you're watching, but she's really blunt about, Dad, you're just being a jerk. She doesn't mind telling me, like, you're wrong about this, or, she's real matter of fact. And so, as they got older, I learned from their responses. I learned from the impressions I made on them. And so now if you ask Banks, I think Banks would tell you, no, my daddy's pretty even-keeled. He doesn't lose his temper a whole lot. I probably do sometimes. And so I just was struck by the fact that all these animals are walking around making these impressions in the dirt. And how many times do we make impressions on other people, and we don't really appreciate the fact that we've made that impression? Those animals have probably no idea that here I came, and like there was some really big buck tracks in that patch, and like a big enough, mature enough buck that I can tell, like, I want to hunt this buck. And so next year I'm going to go look for him. There were some beautiful turkey tracks. I'm not a turkey hunter. I don't do that. But if I were a turkey hunter, I'd say this is a place where I want to hunt next year if I want to look for turkeys. So those animals left impressions that made an impression on me. And you know what? We make impressions on the people that we come into contact with. And so I wonder how many times we make impressions on people and we don't even appreciate how much of an impression we made on them, right? And so I think about things like when I'm just getting a little bit more comfortable. When you know you I don't know, the clerk at Walmart, you know, who's been standing on her feet all day long, and we go through the line, and are we a jerk to her, or are we kind and polite to her, and what kind of impression do we make on her? I know there are days when I come home, and I'll just tell y'all, like I see stuff. Prosecutors and police officers and first responders are some of the most underappreciated people because we deal with stuff that most people don't want to admit even happens. And so there are days where I come home and like I really want to take a toothbrush and stick it in my ear and go, "Arr," so that I can scrub away all the things I saw during the day. And I'll come through the door and Hannah will greet me with a smile and give me a big comforting hug, right? And she doesn't know what I've been through, but that comforting hug makes a tremendous impression on me. And so then I got to thinking about like how deep are our impressions, or how light are our impressions? Because the bobcat and the possum and the raccoon, their impressions weren't very deep. The turkeys, for some reason, was really deep, and the deer certainly were deep. And I think that sometimes, like, people think, oh, well, Walt, you're a writer and you're a DA and you have this you know, platform, and so you make really deep impressions. And then I think sometimes maybe some of y'all say something like, you know, I'm a senior citizen and I can't drive anymore, and I live at home by myself and I don't get out much, and I make really light impressions. Or maybe somebody might say, well, you know, Banks is only 15 years old and she doesn't know much, and so she doesn't really make impressions. So I got to thinking about that, and here's what I would challenge you with. I was thinking earlier today about the men who served in World War II, who went to Normandy and were part of the D-Day invasion. And there were just hundreds of thousands of Allied troops who participated in the crossing of the English Channel and the storming at Utah and at Normandy. And just one man, right? One man got lost. He didn't seem to make a big impression in the hundreds of thousands of people that were out there with guns and machine guns and barricades and barbed wire and cannon fire and everything else. But then, if you got down to ground level, you find these amazing stories of heroism where men rose to the occasion, and just one man made a huge difference and would save a dozen men's lives. And he made this fantastical impression. You know, the story of my mind is going blank now. The conscientious, he wasn't really a conscientious objector, but the guy, he fought in World War II, and he was a medic, and he wouldn't carry a gun because of his faith. And he saved dozens and dozens of people's lives, and he didn't even have a gun. He made a huge impression, right? And so I mention him because you tell me you're a shut-in, you can't make an impression, or you're too young, you can't make an impression. And I would say to you, that guy didn't carry a gun in the middle of a battle, in the middle of a war, and he made a huge impression. Here's what I know, is I know that if you're older, you probably have a lot more wisdom than I do, wisdom that I won't get unless you share it with me. And so I need you to make an impression on me. I need you to pick up the phone and call me, or to call your nephew, or call your son, or call your next door neighbor, and just share a few thoughts with them, right? I have, if y'all been following me for very long, you know that one of my best friends is an 83 or 84-year-old man. I've forgotten how old he is now. Claude and I, we meet weekly, and he gives me great wisdom. He makes a deep, deep, deep impression on me. And so here's what I want to tell you is that God's still got a purpose for you. And part of that purpose is to make a deep impression on people. And so don't underestimate your own value. Don't discount your own value. I know that right now your life may be more difficult. Maybe you're in an unusual circumstance, but I promise you this. You have a desperate purpose to be filled. And there's somebody out there waiting for you to make an impression on them. There's somebody out there waiting for you to give them that warm embrace that Hannah gives me when I come home from work, right? And you just never know how much of an impression you make on somebody. So leave deep tracks. That's what I want to tell you. Leave deep tracks in the dirt of your life. And when you do that, I promise you, you'll leave the world a better place. Speaking of powerful stories I want to share with you, I want to ask you for a little prayer. So my cousin, Jason Norwood, he lives in Moulton, Alabama. That's a quaint little southern town. It's the county seat in Lawrence County. Yeah, I think it's Lawrence County. He and I, we were playmates when we were kids. I'm a little bit older than him, but not much. And we've sort of grown up together, but we live, it's about 4.5 or 5 hours apart, so we don't get to see each other very often. Not every weekend, in other words. And so a couple of years ago, Jason got diagnosed with a brain tumor. And forgive me because I don't know the scientific terms. I just don't remember them. We did, with a lot of prayer went up, a lot of gnashing of teeth, so to speak, and worry, but we all trusted that God had it in control. And so Jason goes in, has some scans and some tests, and has surgery, and everything is a complete success, right? And so we were all grateful and we were all thankful, right? Because he had, seemingly been the beneficiary of a miracle. And so a couple of, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, he sends me a text and he says, hey, his wife's Nicole. And he says, hey, a little bit of unsettling news. Nicole started experiencing some symptoms, and she went for some tests, and they did an MRI, and she has a brain tumor. And so I just want you to, I want you to pray for my cousin Jason and his wife Nicole. She's going for surgery on Monday, and I just don't know anybody. I don't know another family who, and I'm sure they're out there, but I don't know anybody who's had to endure what they're enduring. And so I just really want you to lift them up. They're great people. They're strong people. They're also champions, right? And mighty warriors. And I have absolute faith that God's going to deliver Nicole as well, and that on the backside of this, they're going to have this powerful story about, hey, we've had 2 brain tumors in our family. And in fact, it's funny, I was just texting with Jason before I came on, and I said, hey, you want me to come up there next week, and I'll just kind of be the butler. I'll do what I can to help, as she's in recovery, and, I'll be the go for whatever you need. And he said, well, my other cousin from the other side of the family, my cousin David's coming, and he told Nicole that he wanted to hang out with me for a few days. And so I responded back. I said, hang out with you? I said, I'm not coming for you. I said, you don't have the brain tumor. And of course, I was being funny. And so I put a pause, and then I said, oh, wait, ... And so he came back with a laughy face. Sometimes you just have to have a sense of humor in things like this. And look, I know that they're scared. I'm scared for them, right? But But fear is not an emotion that accomplishes much of anything. And so I always try to, you know me, I try to be positive and uplifting. And so I hope I made him laugh. And I hope that if they're watching right now, I hope they're comforted by knowing that thousands of people right now are praying for him, maybe tens of thousands. And so I just ask you to lift them up. Jason and Nicole Norwood, Moulton, Alabama. They're beautiful people, and I'm blessed to have them in my life. And so I ask you to pray for them. Hey, I wanted to also just mention a couple of other things. One is I get a lot of people every day who say something like, "Hey, I read your story, I love it," and I can tell that they've never seen my page. And so let me tell you, if you've never seen this page, I'm a writer. Well, that's not true. I'm a lawyer. I'm a prosecutor, so I prosecute people who have been arrested for various crimes, and I don't care what you see on TV. Every prosecutor I know only wants the truth, right? We're not out to convict people. We're not out to make examples. We want the truth and we want justice, and we want to help people genuinely. That's what we want to do. And so, but then through a story that I'm going to share with you later, God opened up some doors for me to start writing stories. And so I started doing that. So I started publishing them here on Facebook because I didn't know what else to do with them. And then I started writing books and publishing books. You can go to shepherdingbook.com and order my new book if you want to. But I just want to tell you, follow the page. I don't know how to tell you to do it right now because of the screen I'm looking at. But I think when you're looking right up here, there'll be 3 buttons that, like, it'll say Shepherding Outdoors. Then there might even be a button that says follow. But follow the page, and that way, and then if you see an option to make it a favorite, then you'll always see what I post. Because I know this, I had 347,000 people following this page, which is awesome. Thank you all, by the way. But I know you don't always see my posts because I hear y'all send me messages. Hey, I'm not seeing your stuff anymore. You got to follow the page. If you don't follow it, you're not going to see it. So click that follow button for me. The other thing is, see all these, I don't know if y'all can see these right here, these hearts and these thumbs ups. But the more you do that, the more that you tell Facebook, I want to see this page. I want to see what they're doing. And so, like right now, give it a thumbs up. I want to see a bunch of them come up there right now. Because if you do that, you're telling Facebook, hey, I want to keep seeing this guy's stuff. And so every time I post something, they'll put you in the feed. So do those thumbs up or do those hearts. Let's see if this will do it. It won't do it. I think if I do that, there it went. See that big thumbs up? And so the more you do that, the more it tells Facebook you want to see my stuff. So be sure to do the thumbs up. Be sure to follow the page. All right, so look, lots of heavy rain and flooding in North Alabama, and I think sort of central Mississippi, maybe central and North Alabama and central Mississippi. Probably going to flow on over into Georgia, if I had to guess. I hadn't seen that. Lots of people, going to be hurting tonight. We're all blessed. We really are. No matter how bad your day is, you're still blessed. And so be a good neighbor. Look out for, if you got a neighbor that's having problems, reach out, offer to help them. Again, make an impression, make a deep impression. All right, so I'm going to put on my glasses. Let's see if y'all got any questions you want me to ask before I go. Let's see. Pamela says her brother has a brain tumor. So, Pamela, we're going to pray for him as well. There's Luann says she made snow ice with Brenda. Yeah, that was fun. We got 12 inches of snow here. That was amazing. We had some great pictures and some great video. If you haven't, you need to go back and watch my video. I also have a YouTube page where I post a bunch of stuff from our family. Cheryl in Central Kentucky says they're getting a lot of rain. Pauline says she has 3 of my books. Pauline, I do have 4, and I have a 5th that I'll be talking about more in a month or 2. So just stick tight, hang tight, and stick around for that news when it comes around. Let's see. I'm waiting to see if any of y'all have any questions that I might ask. I was also, sometimes Bay and Cape will come on here. There's Teresa Hill from Ontario. How about that? All the way from Canada. Good to see you, Teresa. I can't ship my books to Ontario. it's amazing what an imaginary line does to shipping. It's just incredible. Cheryl Nunn says, yes, heavy rains in Georgia. Let's see. There's Cooking with Brenda Gant. Look, there's Brenda on here talking about snow ice cream. It's so good. Let's see. Joyce says, first time to ever catch you live. Oh, bless you. Let's see. Sarah Dotson says their home was flooded, still recovering in Southwest Virginia. I'm sorry, Sarah. We'll be praying for you too. Let's see. All right. Doesn't look like y'all got a lot of questions tonight. That's okay. I'm going to go inside and thank you, Julie, for praying. I'm going to go inside and go visit with Hannah a little bit. We did soapbox derby tonight. Or not really soapbox. Oh, update on my mom. Thank you for asking about that. I'll tell you in just a second. So we didn't do the soapbox derby races. I'm not even sure. It's not soapbox derby. Is it Pinewood derby or soap? It's the little cars. You know, they're wooden. They're about 6 or 8 inches long. And so Hannah teaches the GAs. And this is what I want to tell you. This is why I wanted to end here, because I wanted to talk about making an impression. So let me tell you about my mom first, okay? So Mom's doing good. My brother Kenny took her the other day, and she got a manicure and a pedicure, and she got a haircut. And look, it is what it is. I went to stay with her last Friday night, and I visited with her Saturday morning before I went and spoke at a men's ministry thing on Saturday. And I said, you know what? I find the bright side in all of it. I said, I had a great visit with her Friday night, and we had a very similar great visit with her on Saturday morning. And so, it's a little bit of tongue in cheek, in that, she's got dementia, and she didn't remember Saturday morning what we had talked about on Friday night, but that's okay. That just meant I got 2 great visits with my mom, and so I celebrate that. But she's had a really good week. She got a little touch of the flu. Kenny took her to the doctor, got her some medicine. She got over it seemingly really quickly, and is really back physically in good shape, and now she's all dolled up and pretty, and so I appreciate him doing that for her. That was good for him to do that. So Hannah teaches GAs. Here's where I'm gonna close at. And she has taught GAs for years. So GAs is in our church, it stands for Girls in Action. And it's an age group of, let's just say, like up to about 5th grade, okay? And maybe it might be like 1st through 5th. It's not real young girls, but say 1st through 5th. And she's taught those girls for years. And of course, she taught all our girls in GAs. But she didn't stop when our girls got out of that age group and went into youth. And now Banks is in high school. And so she has no familial connection to teach in that age group. But she does it because she makes an impression, and she knows that. And so I came home. I got to watch her some tonight, working with those girls and interacting with them and talking to them. And I don't usually get to do that because I'm usually involved in some other activity on Wednesday nights. But tonight was special because I got to watch her. And so I came home, and I was really touched. And I came home, I gave her a big hug, and I said, I sure am proud of you. And I am super proud of my wife. She is a phenomenal lady. And I'm hugging her, and she kind of laughs, and she says, why? And I think she had made me a little brownie dessert, and she said, why? Because I made you a brownie dessert. And I laughed, and I did think it was funny, but I said, no, because you're making such an impression on those girls, and you don't have to, right? That's the thing, is none of us have to make an impression, but as Christians, we should want to. We should feel compelled to. And so, COVID really messed us up, and COVID changed everybody's mindset. And I know so many of you right now are watching, and you're saying to yourself, well, I don't get out anymore, and I don't do anymore, and I don't go anymore. And if you're really honest with yourself, you'll say to yourself, I don't make much of an impression anymore. But it's not because you can't. It's because you choose not to. and I'm not trying to step on your toes. I just want to speak truth to you. It's because you choose not to. Because when COVID came along, COVID convinced all of us that we needed to stay away from everybody. And you know what? We got comfortable with it. We got used to it. We became okay with not socializing. And wow, what a terrible thing. What a destructive thing to do to a faith. It is to tell people of a faith community you shouldn't be together anymore, because we need each other. We need to be around each other. And so as much as I love to comfort you through this screen, I really want you to go comfort somebody else face to face. And I want you to challenge yourself. Remember, you don't have to get up, but you should feel compelled to. Hannah doesn't have to teach those girls, but she feels compelled to. And so I want to challenge you to feel compelled. Tomorrow, I'm challenging you personally. Tomorrow, I want you to go find somebody and make an impression. I don't care if it's the checkout lady at the grocery store. Make an impression. Don't let comfort. I'm comfortable sitting on my couch. I'm comfortable being in my house. I'm comfortable, with my hair in rollers. I don't want to have to get dressed. I don't want to have to put on makeup. I don't want to have to drive. All those things are just comfort. Don't let comfort keep you from making impressions. All right. Hey, I love y'all. I hope you have a great, great night. I appreciate your prayers for my cousins, Jason and Nicole, and their family. Yes, that's right. Live by faith, not fear, Vivian. Thank you for posting that. And look, again, I know lots of hardships. I get it. I do. The easiest thing, remember this, this is one of my favorite sayings. And I'm not sure, I don't remember ever hearing anybody say this. So I'm not claiming it for myself, but I might have come up with this on my own. An excuse is one of the easiest things there is to grab hold of, and one of the hardest things to let go of. And so you got plenty of excuses not to get out and make impressions on people. I suspect a lot of y'all are holding on to that excuse. And a lot of y'all, it probably started with COVID. And now I'm just challenging you to let go of it. And Vivian said, live by faith, not by fear. Let go of it and have faith that everything's going to be okay, and that you're going to make a valuable and deep impression on somebody who needs it. You're going to touch somebody at the moment they need it most. I love y'all. I hope I touched you tonight. I hope you have a great night. I'm going to go inside and love on my wife. All right. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.